Welcome to Wealth, Health, Wisdom Mastery channel, where we discuss tips on that will be helpful for us to achieve our wealth, health, and wisdom goals and objectives, our personal goals and objectives and targets in these areas of our life, which are very, very, very important. So in our last video, in one of our previous videos, we discussed around starting or creating an personal emergency fund. And that was very interesting, well received with a lot of comments and questions. And one of the questions was around, how do I even get to save the money that I could use towards my personal emergency fund or family emergency fund? And I think one of the good useful tools that would be helpful to anyone would be using the budget, creating a budget. And what is a budget? What does that mean? Creating a budget is really about knowing what your income is and actually what your expenses are. So you plan, you plan based on your income and you tailor your expenses to that, to the income. So in terms of income, you really need to sit down, grab a book. It's better to have a book, not just a piece of paper that you can do and throw away, but you want to, face the facts truly and speak to yourself have a meeting with yourself, to really look at this area that is very, very important to you. So you're looking at your income, your salary, perhaps you get income from rent, a first job, a second job, or side hustles, or maybe you've done some investments in, and you have dividends coming in. Just sit down and tell yourself, write down what those earnings are. Some people receive their salary every month. Some receive their salary every month, some weekly, some daily, or irregularly pay. They have irregular work. And so for them, it's a bit difficult. So what one could do would be to do an average of 3 months of what the income is and take that to be an average, but as a guide. All right. Then in terms of the expenses, you want to write down what your expenses are and plan for your expenses. So there are 4 areas that you can, easily, try and put your expenses headings. One will be your debts, owings, things that you want to pay off. So you list all of them that you need to pay off, not want to because you are owing. So you have to list those things that you are owing and how much you are paying for as regularly as you've agreed to pay for those things. You also want to list your needs, and your needs are things that are very important that you have to pay for every month, like your rent, school fees, food, transport, phone, your utilities, your water bill, gas bill, and such other areas that actually go out every month that you need, and also your car payments. Then the other component that you have to consider would also be your wants, and your wants are really the nice to have things. So they are not necessary, but it would be nice to have. So, for example, newspapers would be considered a want. Magazines would be considered a want, but a professional magazine may not be a want. It's a need because it adds to your learning, and you need it to know, to keep up with your professional development. So, in summary, you have to think about your income, your expenses in terms of your need, your wants, your owings, and also saving. You have to plan to save. What proportion of your income would you want to start saving? Would you want to start with a 5%, a 1%, or 2%? So you know, some people even save 10% or 15% of whatever income that they receive. So now that you have a plan, that's what a budget is. Now you have a plan. You want to work with that plan. And so you track your expenses on a daily basis. There are tools that you can use in tracking your expenses. It can be a simple spreadsheet, Excel sheet that you use every day to note down what you have spent for the day. Some people prefer to, use an app. You have quite a number on the web that you can download. Some you may be able to, may ask you for a fee, but there are quite a few useful tools. And of course, you can always use your pen and paper. They tried and tested, although some people may think it's old-fashioned, but do what works for you. But what's important is that you are tracking your expenses, either on the go or at the end of the day, but do what works for you. And at the end of the day, have a look at those expenses, or really at the end of the week, because now after 7 days of 1 week, you have a bigger, a pattern forming. So you have a look at how are these expenses? Are you happy with the expenses? Are there changes you want to make? Perhaps are you spending a lot of money on phone calls or on taxis? You just need to look at your expenses and decide what changes you want to make and whether they fit into your money goals that you have for yourself. Okay, and another good thing to have is a shopping list. So before you go shopping, as a matter of fact, even before you go shopping, a good thing to do all through the day, or in the course of your daily living in your house, for example, if there's something that is finishing, let's say milk or whatever, sugar, whatever, you just look at as you go through your day, there are things that are finishing. You have a notebook where you write those things down. And just before you go shopping, you look through those notebooks and take some things that you think you want to buy at that particular shopping time. Also go through your food pantry. What is it that is almost finishing that you think you are able to manage to put on the list as you go shopping? So the point is that you are not going on a spending spree, but more in fact that you are going shopping with a clear idea of what you want to buy, how much quantities that you want to buy, that you need and require. Recall again, always remind yourself that you're working towards your personal wealth goals and objectives, which you certainly can achieve. So it's also important that when you are developing a plan, it's important, and feel free to take professional advice. Take advice from a professional, a financial advisor who can sit down with you and provide support and the ongoing support that you require. And would I say that when these things begin to work and you make these changes and you are happy about the changes you are making, this is a tool that you can use for life. It's not a start and stop. It's something that guides you. You could make it a way of living, so that it doesn't matter even when you achieve your wealth goal, you can be more than you have set out to do. If something is working, why stop? So what you want to do is to continue to use this tool. The summary of it is that when you develop your personal budget, your plan, make sure you try to make sure that your spending is less than you earn. Spend less than you earn. Then you have that savings that you can put towards your emergency, your personal emergency fund, and other saving for other things that you would want to get at the point you want to get them. So, in summary, I'll say having a budget is a useful thing, is a useful tool. Tracking your expenses is a great habit to form. And using a shopping list also guides your shopping and helps you keep in check to the budget in the journey to achieving your wealth objectives. So if you have any questions, any comments, and any suggestions of topics that you would like us to cover in this channel, please put it on in the comment section. Thank you for listening.